plant's super easy to identify. Got these big razzly leaves on it, and you can't miss these beautiful, beautiful berries growing on it. That's why they call them beauty berries. They're actually called American beauty berries. But yeah, really a good way to go with these things. I've seen the jelly when it's finished, and it's the prettiest red color, and they say it tastes pretty much like raspberry jelly or even better, so we're going to find that out too. But these plants here, I'll show you. See if we can scan down where Nancy's at. Every one of these plants along here are beautyberry plants. We literally parked a car in the corner, and we've hit maybe 3-4 bushes and damn near have what we need to do this. And I'm sure it's like that in your neighborhood too. If you get out and find a wooded area with some roads and just cruise them. And it looks to me, from what I've seen, they bloom the month of September. So there's your time to go get them. And they stay on a tree a long time too. That's another thing I noticed when we've been out hunting. We keep seeing these, and this whole month we've seen them. And they're still on there, and they're not, you know, they're not weak berries. They hold tough for a long time. And I'm not really sure how long they're going to be on the trees. I'll keep watching, and I'll let that know in the video as we continue on with this, because this is kind of a process. But we probably got enough berries now. So anyway, we're going to get to the next step. Let's see what you got in there. Oh, yeah, you got probably 2 pounds, almost 3. Let it fill across the bottom, because that's why I judge the other one. Other way. Cover the bottom with it and see if it covers the whole bottom. Yep, that's about 3 pounds. All right, let's go make some wine. All right, so we brought these berries to a rolling boil. We're going to let that go on for about a minute, stirring them. Notice I'm not squashing these berries. No need for that. That hot water is dissolving those berries, extracting the juice out of them. You're making a huge mistake if you try to push on these and squeeze them, and it's just going to cloud up whatever you're making, the jelly and the wine. So just let it naturally boil. We're going to give it a minute of rolling boil. And like I said, this batch I'm showing you right here, I'm actually making jelly out of, but since I skipped that process of showing you how to make the wine, I wanted to get this in there. So same process, little different formula, but basically boiling the berries and breaking it down. So we got a pretty good rolling boiling going on now. So I'm going to shut it off, put the lid on it. If you notice, those berries are changing colors. Now they're getting brown. And that's when you know you're pretty good. So we're going to put the lid on it. We're going to kill that. And we're going to move it off. And we're going to let that simmer until it cools down. And then we're going to strain it. All right, we're going to go ahead and strain these berries out. You watch me boil them down. I let it cool down. And here we go. That nice amber color coming out of there. It gets even redder when you make the jelly. There goes the berries. See how nice and brown they are? It's our homemade sink here. We built this house. I'll do a video on that one day. But it's a log cabin we built with the logs from the land. And no contractors. We did all our own work, plumbing, electricity, roof, you name it. I built this thing from scratch. My kids helped me in the early stages. The ex-wife, and then me and Nancy moved up here, retired from Loxahatchee, and we finished her off upstairs, did all the woodwork. So yeah, that's a whole nother video. All right, so there you go. That's what spent beauty berries look like. Just brown. Got a whole gallon of liquid, and that there I'm going to make jelly with. I just wanted to show you this process because it's the same for wine. So now you've got the full video, so stay tuned. All right, folks, we're working on this jelly here. You already sweetened the berries, put them in the pan, boil them, strain them out. Now we've got just the liquid. We're getting the canning ready. We got all our jars in there. We're going to boil those. Follow your standard canning rules on that. You got to get a book, and it'll show you exactly how to do that. Take the lids off, reusable lids, put them all in the hot water, and boil them and get them sterile. And while it's doing that, we're cooking this pot here, which is basically just the berry juice. And when it gets to a boil, we're going to stir in gelatin. You can either use Sure Gel, pectin, but we're using 6 ounces of gelatin. and that's what's going to work. That's going to make our jelly jelly. So we're going to mix that in. Then we're going to let that heat up until it's a boil that you can't stir away. When you get to that boil that you can't stir away, we're going to add in the sugar. And after that, folks, it's basically take these jars out of the sterile environment, set them up, and pour it in there. Let it sit. Now we are going to put a half a stick of butter, not a half a stick, but a slice of butter inside here, and that'll take some of the foam out, from stirring out of the Jell-O. So that's what they say that helps with that. So there you go. That's the process. So I guess I'll turn it off now until we get a boil going here. All right, we're going to add these Jell-O packets. I've already cut them open. We're just about at a boil. All right, now we're going to stir that until we get it to a boil that you can't stir away. And that's the exact moment that you stop, and then we're going to add the sugar. Let's put this out for a second. Break up that gelatin. Stuff pumps up a little bit. I guess it's starting to dissolve now. I've never even made Jell-O before, so this is a first for me. Hear that? Jell-O's up. Let's keep stirring that. Just break down there. All right, let's wait till this gets a rolling boil going. All right, we're going to squeeze in 1 lemon just to help to break that down and get a little extra sweet flavor. Sugar. Good sized lemons. All right, that takes some of the bitterness out of it, believe it or not. Pretty crazy when you're taking a bitter lime to use to get rid of bitterness. All right, this is just a boiling game. Just about to a boil here. So now I got some lemon seeds floating in there. I got to fish out. And that is just big enough where it slips through. We don't want lemon seeds in our jelly. Crunch version. I guess I could have really simplified that too by just buying the squirter. You can get the lemon in a little jar. Looks like a lemon, and just squirt the juice in there. But when you do these things, you try to be as authentic as you can. And that's what we're trying to do here. Babe, where's that cinnamon at? Cinnamon. We're going to add some cinnamon, about a tablespoon. It's about a tablespoon. Now we're just about to boil it here, so it'd be a good time to add that butter so we don't get the foam. All right, there's the butter. Where's she got her butter tray at? We'll get to that. Oh, it's taking longer than I thought to boil. Guess I could have put it on the bigger burner, but here we are. It's close. All right. It should be boiling in a second. All right, we got a boil going here. We want a boil that we can't stir away, so keep spinning this here for a while. And that boil gets strong enough and we can't make it go away, then we'll add the sugar. And we're disinfecting the jars, the lids, everything's in there. I got reusable lids, so that's what you want to do. You want to boil them, and after we pour the liquid in there, and you want to use these tongs too. You're not ever going to touch these with your fingers from this point on. Everything's with the tongs that are sterilized. We don't want no bacteria, no fingerprints, nothing getting in that jar. So, like I said, I'm teaching you how to make the jam. The canning instructions, you can go on YouTube or whatever and buy a book and it'll teach you about canning if you haven't done it before. But it's basically boiling the bottles, the lids, disinfecting everything. Then when I'm done, I'm going to pack this in all those jars, put the lids on them, just finger tight, and then we're going to stick them all back inside that pot, and we're going to boil them for about 10 minutes, and they should be preserved and sealed, no fungus, no bacteria, and just ready to put on some bread with some peanut butter. So far I have a boil that I can't stir away, so just keep on trucking here. Just a gurgling away. I've never been Betty Crocker, but just starting to learn how to do this stuff. I like to take advantage of living off the land. We've raised our own cows, our own pigs. We shoot deer every year, 2 or 3 deer, and keep them in the freezer. We get them processed. We've grown our own vegetables. We've got these growing wild all over our 4 acres. I never left the property to get most of these berries. I did do one on the trail over there just to get another batch of berries, but the first load we did for the wine I got right here in the backyard. They're just all up and down the property line. So we try to take advantage of that, and I took the leaves and I made mosquito spray, which I put on recently. I put it on about an hour ago to make sure that I don't get any kind of rash from it, and I don't. So it's good. You can't even smell that I put it on there. The alcohol evaporated immediately. So I know the mosquito spray works. My wife's sitting out there right now. We live in the woods and there's no bugs, so it's working. All right, I think we've reached that boil that we can't stir away. means now we're going to add the sugar. All at once, too, not a little bit at a time. That's why I already had it pre-measured for the batch that I have. Remember, equal parts berries. No matter if it's 1 cup, 2 cups, 3 cups, it's equal berries to equal water to 50% sugar. There's your formula. And when you put the cinnamon in and the lemon, that's your own discretion on how much you think you need. I put a tablespoon of, and this batch is about 3 jars. I put 2 tablespoons roughly of that cinnamon and 1 lemon cut in half. So there's your formula for this. And I'll certainly let you know how it tastes. This is jelly at this point. I just have to pour it in them jars. Let's, speaking of which, let's clean this jar out and get it disinfected. That and disinfect it too. Alright. Stir this in nice and good. You know that sugar is boiled and dissolved. And like I said, I'm no Betty Crocker. I'm just following instructions here, so I would be making this over and over again if it comes out the way I think it's going to. Feel it getting stiff in there. Alright, I think we're ready to make jelly. This is the front. Alright, I know these other jars are sterile. They've been in there for a ton. Alright, so we've made it. We've poured it into the jars. We were sterile about everything. Never touched our fingers on any of the surfaces. Used the tongs. And now I'm just sealing them. I'm supposed to boil them in that water with the lids on. You'll hear the lids pop when they seal. Pop, pop, pop. They've all popped. So now it's just a matter of sterilizing a little bit more. And voila, we've got some jelly. So that's about as far as I can show you at this point till it's done. Then I can show you some ruby jelly that tastes amazing. All right, if you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe, and we got plenty more coming. Over and out.